It started with a scream inside cell block 9. A scream that echoed down concrete halls like a siren from hell. The guards thought it was just another fight. But what they found was something else entirely. An inmate, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling. His body cold, his mouth filled with ashes. On his chest, someone had carved 3 words. "The light lives." That was the night everything changed inside Grayridge Penitentiary. And for the next 6 months, what happened behind those bars would haunt every man who survived it. Grayridge Penitentiary sat in the middle of nowhere. A forgotten slab of concrete surrounded by razor wire and dead grass. It wasn't the kind of place people came out of. You either served your time quietly, or you disappeared into the system forever. Cell Block 9 was the oldest wing in the prison. The walls were cracked, the air smelled of rust and sweat. It was where the problem inmates were sent. The fighters, the lifers, the ones nobody could control. Among them was Darius Cole, a 32-year-old inmate serving life for armed robbery and manslaughter. He'd been locked up for 8 years, kept his head down, and stayed out of trouble. Until the day a new inmate arrived, a man named Eli Cross. Eli didn't look like much. Mid-40s, bald, soft-spoken, the kind of guy you'd overlook in the yard. But there was something about his eyes, cold, calculating, almost knowing. He had this way of talking that made people listen. Even the guards seemed uneasy around him. Within weeks, Eli had followers. Inmates who used to brawl now sat quietly in the corner with him, listening to his words like he was preaching salvation. They called themselves the Light. And before anyone realized it, the cult inside Cell Block 9 was born. It started small. Eli would talk to men during mealtime about redemption, freedom, and the truth. He said there was a way out of this hell, not through escape, but through something purer, something holy. At first, nobody cared. Grayridge had seen all kinds of weirdos, prophets, preachers, and fake messiahs. But then the fight stopped. The loudest inmates went silent, and men who'd never gotten along started eating together, praying together. Guards noticed the shift. But fewer fights meant less paperwork, so nobody complained. Not until the first suicide. An inmate named Miguel Santos was found hanging from his bunk, smiling with a note pinned to his shirt. "I've seen the light, I'm free now." That got the warden's attention. But even then, the official report called it mental health deterioration. Because admitting that a cult was forming inside your prison? That's career suicide. Darius started watching. He saw Eli meeting in the showers late at night, whispering to his disciples. He saw them exchange contraband. Not drugs, not money, but small pieces of paper. Each one had the same symbol, a circle with a line through it, the mark of the light. It wasn't religion. It was control. Eli was building something. Something that went beyond faith. And Darius knew if he didn't stay out of it, he'd end up in it. By the 4th month, Cell Block 9 was no longer run by the guards. It was run by Eli Cross. He decided who got food, who got protection, who got punished. The guards knew it, but looked the other way. Because Eli had turned chaos into calm. The block was quiet for the first time in years, but that peace had a price. Every week someone joined the light. It started with a talk, then a ritual, then something darker. Darius tried to keep to himself. But one night, a man named Jerome, one of Eli's brothers, cornered him in the laundry room. "You got darkness in you, Cole," Jerome whispered. "Eli can help you see. You just gotta let go." Darius shoved him off, told him to back the hell away. But that night, someone slipped a note under his cell door. Same circle symbol. No words, just that mark. It felt like a warning. The next morning, Jerome was gone. Transferred, they said. But Darius later heard he was found dead in solitary, throat cut with a sharpened toothbrush. And written in blood on the wall, "The light accepts sacrifice." That's when Darius decided he needed to get out of Block 9. He told a guard, one he trusted, about Eli and the cult. But the guard went pale. "Don't talk about that," he said quietly. "You think we don't know? You think we can stop him? He's got people on the inside." People on the inside. That's when Darius realized the rot went deeper than he thought. Eli wasn't just manipulating inmates. He was buying guards, blackmailing staff, spreading his influence beyond the cells. Darius started keeping a journal, hiding it inside the vent above his bunk. He wrote down names, meetings, rituals, anything that could prove what Eli was doing. If he couldn't escape physically, maybe he could expose them. But Eli seemed to know everything. Every move, every whisper. It was like he could see through the walls. One night, Darius woke to find Eli standing outside his cell. No guards, no footsteps, just Eli. "You write too much, Darius," Eli said softly. "You think they'll believe you, the murderer who found God in a cage?" Then he smiled and slid something through the bars. It was Darius's own journal. "The light reads everything," Eli whispered. "Now it's your turn to choose." 3 days later, a riot broke out in cell block 9. It wasn't spontaneous, it was organized. The alarms blared, doors unlocked, fires started in the common area. Guards were pulled out one by one. The cameras went dark. When the smoke cleared, Eli Cross had taken control of the block completely. He stood in the middle of the chaos, surrounded by followers chanting, "The light lives, the light lives." Darius was dragged out of his cell, beaten, forced to his knees. Eli looked down at him with a strange calm. "You tried to fight it," he said, "but the light doesn't need your belief. It only needs your surrender." He handed Darius a shiv. "Prove your faith. Take a life, or lose yours." Everything went silent. The air smelled of blood and smoke, and Darius, beaten, broken, terrified, looked around and saw the others watching. Some he knew, some he used to eat with, laugh with. Now they were hollow-eyed believers, waiting for him to obey. But Darius wasn't going to die on his knees. He lunged, not at Eli, but at the gas pipe behind him. The spark from the shiv hitting metal ignited the leaking gas from the riot's damage. The explosion ripped through the block. Fire, screams, chaos. Then everything went black. When Darius woke up, he was in the infirmary, handcuffed to the bed. Half of cell block 9 was gone, burned beyond recognition. Eli Cross's body was never found. The light lives. Or became something else entirely. No one claimed to know what it meant. So tell me, if you were locked inside cell block 9, and everyone around you began to follow a man who promised freedom through faith, would you resist? Or would you give in to the light? Comment your thoughts below. Because some prisons aren't made of bars. They're made of belief.